Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Friday Charge, brought to you by Geek Studios. As always, we are your hosts, Joel and Sebastian. And today, December 12th, 2025, we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about Rivian, who finally hosted their AI and Autonomy Day. Subaru's done some pretty aggressive pricing on their new models. Mercedes has another new EV, and we'll talk about a couple other little things. So, without further ado, let's plug in and get started. All right, our first story. Rivian hosts their AI and Autonomy Day. So today, which is December 11th, except if you're watching this, it's actually December 12th. Psych. Rivian hosted their hotly anticipated AI and Autonomy Day. So for starters, let's talk about the heart of all this new stuff. Rivian has pulled the wraps off of its now third generation autonomy computer and a new Rivian Autonomy Processor 1, which are both powered by in-house silicon designs. Rivian is planning on using this hardware in various days. Let's just talk about the AI part first. For starters, they've announced that they plan to build an in-house LLMs into their vehicles, which on the consumer side will reveal itself as the new Rivian Assistant, which will be available on both Gen 1 and Gen 2 R1s. The Rivian Assistant will allow you to interact with the vehicle in a more human way. So like you can do voice commands and ask it, you can kind of chain together on the same command instead of, one at a time. As well as you can have the LLM integrate into third-party services. So they specifically called out like Google Calendar. So you could ask for directions to your meeting or whatever, I'm assuming, and it would be able to actually reference your calendar, know that at 9 a.m., for example, you have a meeting at this location, and then it go ahead and put that in your GPS, which I thought was pretty neat. The other LLM they've talked about was one that's more kind of on the service side, to where the vehicle will be able to take its data and the LLM interpret it and then use that to help aid service techs in figuring out what the heck is wrong with your car. Seemed neat.
Yep.
That's enough AI talk, though.
Yep.
Let's talk about the autonomy part. Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead.
I like it. I mean, the calendar thing, I think Tesla does something similar. If you sync your calendar within Tesla, it will say, do you have a meeting at this location? If you have a location marked, it'll ask you if you want to navigate there. I've never used that feature, but I believe that is a feature. And if I'm wrong, put in the comments. But yeah, go on.
Moving on. Let's talk about some autonomy stuff now. Mm-hmm. So Rivian did use this event as a chance to announce their new large driving model, which they are going to use to meet the eventual goal of having a level 4 autonomous driver's assistance suite. Rivian says this LDM behaves a lot like an LLM in how it's trained and how it reasons. Rivian claims these autonomy enhancements will roll out to Gen 2 R1 soon, unlocking what Rivian is calling, quote, universal hands-free driving, which is supposed to be available on 3.5 million miles of U.S. and Canada roads. Now, of course, this is going to be locked behind a software subscription or fee. Rivian is calling it Autonomy Plus, and you can either pay a one-time fee of $2,500 or $50 a month. Rivian also gave some information on the R2 during the event, showing off a car that is designed to mimic R2-D2. Hell yeah. And in the event, Rivian confirmed that the R2 will feature a LiDAR sensor in addition to the new autonomy computer mentioned before. Rivian also wanted to point out that the LiDAR is going to be integrated into the roofline without a taxi bubble. That's a quote. And that it won't fry your camera if you point it at it. But I have some questions. I have some questions and concerns about this. They also stated that when R2 launches, it won't have the LiDAR sensor.
That it will be coming.
No, that it will be coming to a later model year. So, and I've had thoughts about this already, kind of thinking about, it must feel real bad to be a Gen 1 R1 owner. To have your car that is, at oldest, a 2022 model year. Be to the point now that you're not getting any of its new driver's assistance features. You're losing out on features and software updates that are going to the Gen 2 cars. It's like, these are cars that, I mean, were 2 years old when Gen 2 was announced.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have that long of a life cycle before getting completely outmoded, it feels like. I mean, they're still getting some new tweaks or whatever. Like, for example, they're going to get the LLM. Cool, I guess. But just like they already don't get the enhanced highway assist that Gen 2 does. And now moving even further, they don't get the hands-off or the universal hands-free system. But even then, I also feel bad for those people that are in the Gen 2 R1s that just spent $120,000 on an R1T quad, whatever. And now they're finding out, oh, there's going to be a LiDAR component in order to achieve level 4 autonomy or whatever, which my car doesn't have. So
it reminds me of the conundrum of hardware 2 and 3 cars, Tesla versus the hardware 4 cars.
Yeah.
You're starting to see a lot of the updates come out with Tesla. Hardware 4 is starting to get a lot more updates than hardware 2 and 3, especially with the new tech that's running out with FSD and everything like that. So we have the same situation, it does suck because these cars are expensive. It's not like it's a $20,000 car. These are, like you said, $100,000 vehicles. So it's gotta suck.
And it's like, I'm super pumped to see that they're doing this. I'm super pumped that maybe we're going to have an FSD-like system on another automaker that performs well, whatever. But I just, that part, I can understand why you want to implement and kind of mimic Tesla. I don't know that we should be mimicking Tesla on the outmoding your vehicles super fast.
I'm pissing off our customers.
Yeah. And I mean, I get it, though. The tech changes, obviously, right? And you need to be able to change tech and all that. It's just, this is such a short life cycle on these now 2 generations of vehicles.
Yep.
And like you said, they're expensive.
Yeah. This isn't like
we're not talking about a $35,000 Model 3.
We're not talking about a Chevy Bolt. No offense, Sebastian. But we're not talking about and that's one thing that, I bought my Tesla. They always said you'll always feel like you have a new car because the software is always going to be up to date. And we've seen this happen where no, that's not it. And the same thing.
In your car. Yeah.
It's the same thing with other tech companies like Apple. When they release a new phone, well, guess what? If you don't have the newest phone or this newest operating system, you only get these upgrades, or this upgrade or that upgrade. So it makes you want to purchase a new phone. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how it works out. I doubt people are going to rush out to swap their $100,000 cars for some other $100,000 cars. So, yep.
Oh, well, who knows? People make questionable financial decisions all the time.
Next up.
Moving on.
Sebastian was in a lot of days there for a minute.
Subaru's new EVs are priced pretty aggressively. So this week, Subaru announced the pricing of their 2 new EV models, the Uncharted and the Trail Seeker. Let's start with the Uncharted. The Uncharted is around 7 inches smaller than the Solterra in length. The Uncharted in its base front-wheel drive config will start at $34,995. In the base trim, the front-wheel drive powertrain draws from a 74.7 kilowatt-hour battery pack, which is found on the other trims, and delivers a Subaru-claimed 300 miles of range. The all-wheel drive variants drop the range figure to 285 at best. The Uncharted can DC fast charge at speeds of up to 150 kilowatts through the native NACS port on the vehicle, and Subaru is claiming a 10 to 80 time of 28 minutes. And just to kind of give you both ends of the spectrum, so the base model starts at $34,995, and the top trim level starts at $43,795. Cool. The Trail Seeker, which is 6 inches longer than the Solterra, and the closest thing we have to an electric Outback, will start at $39,995. The Trail Seeker is using the same battery pack, so the same 74.7 kilowatt-hour battery pack and the same charging performance and the same NACS port, the same everything, all that, just bigger. It does come standard with all-wheel drive, no front-wheel drive trim here, and has slightly more power. It's 375 horsepower on the Trail Seeker. Subaru is estimating around 280 miles of range on this one, and it's so starting at $39,995, and then the top trim level, the Trail Seeker Touring, will be $46,555.
Not bad pricing.
I thought that was it. Just like starting at $35 for the small one. Yep. The medium one's like $36, $37.
Yep.
And then the big one starts at $39.
So Solterra's, does that still factor in here or?
Yeah. So with Solterra, it's pretty much square in the middle.
Okay, gotcha.
Um,
I
let
like
me
the
double check
Uncharted.
that.
I'm
Yeah, I
liking.
do too.
I like the. I'm looking at a
Um,
picture on the screen. There's the back end. I like that. I like that. Hey, look, Sebastian, it's probably another color that you would like too. It's that orange color.
uh-huh. Uh-huh. I
I
think they
like
even
this.
call it habanero orange, which I think is
Yep.
funny because that's the same thing GM calls theirs.
Yep.
Um,
But I
no,
really am liking this.
okay. The Solterra starts at 38.4.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm excited to check out the Solterra whenever it starts showing up. Hopefully, we get some around here. We'll see.
Yep.
Because
I mean,
yeah,
I really like it. I'm excited. We drove the Solterra. It was okay. But Subaru and just like Toyota, they make solid cars. I mean, they're built to last. So, and I'm interested in this one. This is intriguing. I've never owned a Subaru, but I've always kind of wanted to. So this when I start looking at cars here next 12, 16 months, this may be an option for me. We shall see.
Interesting.
I know. I'm dropping bombs today.
Moving on.
If you want to call it that.
Moving on. BMW EVs can now charge at Tesla Superchargers, meaning Sebastian has to make a small clip for 2 videos coming soon.
That's right.
BMW this week gained access to the Tesla Supercharger network with a few caveats. Most owners are able to charge immediately at Tesla Superchargers. However, those with 2020, I typed 2025, but I could have swore it was 2026. Hold on.
I'll check right here. It's right here. I got it on the screen.
Is it 2025? Was I right?
So new. It's all electric cars like the i4, i5, 7X are able to utilize Tesla's V3 and V4. These are the exact models. i4 22 to 26. i5.
No, I was wrong.
20.
Okay.
Yeah.
2026. Okay. I'll keep going now.
Yep.
So let me just start that sentence over. Most owners will be able to charge immediately at Tesla Superchargers. However, those with 2026 iXs and the 2026 i5 eDrive 40 will not be able to use the Tesla Supercharger network until a remote software update is performed, which BMW is targeting Q2 2026.
Oh, wow. That's
And
8 months away, 7 months away.
Of note, and it's just those 2 models and the new ones, which makes me wonder what's different there. Anyway, also
that
of
is
note,
weird.
BMW, in a very German and very BMW fashion, developed their own official adapter.
I showed
However,
this to you.
however, it will not be available until Q2 2026. So I guess in the meantime, if you want to charge your BMW, you have to use a third-party adapter?
Get out the Electron A to Z's.
Yeah, which means link in the description.
Yep, link in the description.
But I mean, how do you open the network up if you also don't have adapters available for your customers? If you're going to, I'm sure BMW is like every other automaker where they're going to come out and say like, don't use a third-party adapter.
We cannot warranty cars that use third-party adapters and all that, but everyone does it. So,
and ultimately, that would only apply if they could verify that the third-party adapter caused an issue, which it most likely didn't because they're just dumb wires.
Yep.
But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. BMW also expounded on its plans to move its vehicles to NACS. Its first vehicle will be the 2026 BMW i5 M60, which again, weird that a specific trim level of a vehicle will move to NACS, but the other trims of the i5, including the i5 eDrive 40, which it sounds like have already been produced, will still be using CCS. And then it's going to begin trickling throughout the lineup after that. BMW is supporting plug and charge on the Tesla Supercharger network, which is great for customers and great for users, whatever. It's integrating with the user's Shell Recharge account.
Ooh.
Which is set up through their BMW app, which I thought was interesting that we're seeing some payment roaming going on, not just between automaker and Tesla, but now through a third-party charging provider in Tesla, which is interesting as well because you may recall a few weeks ago, I asked you an important question. When we talked about how Tesla was launching the multi-pass service in Europe.
Yep.
To allow you to use your Tesla card or whatever to pay on any network, if you thought you could foresee it happening in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And you said pretty definitively no. I can't help but wonder if this integrating shell recharge with Tesla is the first little key in the puzzle to opening up in the US market for more payment roaming between Tesla and other CPOs.
So that would prove me wrong then.
It would if it did happen. I'm not
You're
saying it's
so
happening.
you're so
I'm
looking
just,
forward to that. I know. So
I mean, it's good for everyone if I prove you
yep.
wrong. So anyway, this feels wrong.
Really?
Like every other automaker, when they've launched the Tesla, like their Tesla Supercharger support, it's been pretty ironed out.
Yep.
There's been a few cases of like your vehicle needs a software update, you have to come to a dealer, but it's been available whenever the announcement's been made.
Uh-huh.
This whole, all of BMWs except for i3, which they were producing i3s all the way up to 2022, and except for our two newest models,
Uh-huh.
and those two newest models won't be supported until Q2, which is at least 6 months away.
Yep.
And we don't have an adapter for owners to purchase from BMW. And we're going to be switching vehicles to NACS, but like at a trim level at a time. It just all feels like they weren't actually ready for it. But at the same time, these automakers have had over a year at this point to get ready for it.
Yep, they have. I mean, it's
How
not
did
like they just
like,
came down the line. They've had plenty of time.
It feels like BMW fumbled it a little bit.
Yep.
How the heck did they do that?
It's the Germans for you.
But even Mercedes did fine.
Volkswagen, when they finally did it.
Volkswagen finally did it. When they did it, though, they had an adapter available. Vehicles were supported. Like, how did BMW, it seems, kind of fumble this? I don't understand.
Yep. I mean, I've had similar issues with, you know, if you check out some of the stuff online, my wife's 2026 EV9 just came with an update for plug-in charge, which I thought was cool. But what I haven't been able to find out yet is exactly what stations that works with. And I've asked on the forums that, like, does it work with EVgo, Blink, or is it just certain? And then when I've done research, it says it works with charging networks like ChargePoint, EVgo, Let's Try America, Shell Recharge, and Tesla, but does it work with Francis Energy? You know, does it work with, whatchamacallit? Can't think of anything on the top of my head now, but yeah, I mean, it's just weird. And it's just, you have it installed and you pull up to a charge station. It's like, it doesn't work. You're like, oh, now I got to download another app and things like that. We just need, like, if someone just developed one app that everyone could use to charge, doesn't matter what kind of vehicle you have, you Sebastian designed this in your free time that everyone could use.
You've set me up. We're about to tangent. Are you ready?
Yep.
We're about to go off the rails and
go off the rails.
So I was in Nashville earlier this week.
Uh-huh.
And while we were in Nashville, we decided, because we saw a billboard, and if there's one thing Joel knows about Allison and I, we're going to find a zoo.
Yep, you are.
Because we love the zoo.
Even if it's 20 degrees outside, Sebastian's at the zoo.
And so they're doing their Christmas light type thing, which was epic, by the way, way better than Little Rock's, which, I mean, it's a much bigger zoo, so like makes sense. But it was awesome, very fun, very good time. They had a decently large bank of level 2 EV chargers in their parking garage. Great, love to see it. Tell me why it took 10 minutes to activate one of them.
Did you use the app?
I had to.
Really?
It had so they look like rebranded Blink stations.
Okay.
It was on the charging network Loop. Have you ever heard of Loop?
Never heard of Loop.
I've never heard of Loop. So they look like Blink rebranded charging stations, and they had the little icon on them that looked like, the RFID icon looked like the same thing you would find in a credit card terminal. So my first instinct was, okay, tap my card.
And go.
It beeped. It made noise. I was like, okay, plug the car in. Nothing happened. Weird. Now that the car is plugged in, tap card again. Nothing happened. Okay. Just out of curiosity, I tapped my ChargePoint card. Nothing happened. It just beeped every time I tapped a card to it, but then never activated. I was like, okay, whatever. So then I saw, there was a QR code. I scanned the QR code. I downloaded the app. There was no way to charge as a guest in the app.
Really?
So then I had to set up an account. So I had to give them all the information and then give them payment information and then scan the QR code on the station, to which it wanted to do a 1 cent test charge, I guess, to verify that my card was good.
Yeah.
Whatever. So I did that. I swiped it. It popped up the Apple Pay interface, which cool. It said it supported Apple Pay. I double tapped, it read my face, and then it just sat there for 3 minutes. It didn't show a loading icon. I thought it was frozen. So I closed out of the app. I opened the app back up, and it was on the exact same screen as soon as it signed in, and just continued to sit there. And after 3 minutes, it went away and came up and said, "Swipe to start charge."
So it took it that long to deposit, to hit a 1 cent from your credit card. Verify that the 1 cent hit was. You did all that just to charge the zoo for an hour and a half? That's.
Well, at this point, I'm committed. Okay,
You're committed. You're all in now.
You know me.
You're all in now. You're like, go to the zoo. Allison, go to the zoo. I'm figuring this out by myself. So
it finally said, "Swipe to start charge." I swiped it, and it said charging, and it came up and was like starting charge. And I sat there for another 30 to 45 seconds. Never heard my car make a noise. Because, it's the EGMP car, so it would go, charging started. Never made a noise, whatever. And the app just said charging or starting charging. And it just sat there and it was counting down. And finally I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it plugged in and walk off. Whatever. Yep. Hopefully they don't charge.
You've been defeated. You're done.
I'm walking off. We had been in the zoo for 5 minutes. And I get the Hyundai notification telling me that my car was now charging. And I finally go and look at the app, and it showed it had delivered 0.0001 kilowatt hours at that point.
Didn't you have trouble charging at the hotel too?
That was a whole different thing. We can talk about that later.
That's a whole different time.
We could talk about that later. Anyway, you just mentioned having to download an app, and I just had to complain. I don't know what the heck was going on. I've never heard of Loop before, but that was not a good first impression.
Nope.
The good news is it was
Mercedes.
cheap. It was like 16 cents a kilowatt hour, which was acceptable
that's home
to me.
Charging right there, buddy.
But still, yeah. Let's talk about some Mercedes.
Let's talk about Mercedes. Yes.
The first real-world range tests are for this new electric CLA are in. So on last week's episode, we talked a decent bit about the new Mercedes CLA. We went through the configurator. Sebastian got mad. It was a good time. And one of the standout stats of it, both of them, you and I kind of agreed, was that they rated EPA 374 miles on the base sedan. Pretty good.
Yep.
In the Edmunds real-world range test, which we've talked about before, the new CLA squeezed out 434 miles on a charge. Now, for those unfamiliar, the Edmunds test is run at a 60% city, 40% highway cycle. So this is not a 70-mile-an-hour constant range test or all highway or anything like that.
This is like 45 and 65, probably 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, I think they said the average speed ends up being about 40 miles an hour.
Okay, gotcha.
On their 10%, and just on the same subject, on their 10 to 80% charging test, they show the car averaged 193 kilowatts.
That's not bad.
Now, to compare that range to other EVs in the test, I have a link here, Joel. I don't know if you want to click it or if you want me to click it.
I don't have the script up. Can you click it and I'll stop sharing?
Yeah, I can do that.
There you go. Hopefully it works and you don't break Riverside again like you did last week.
So far, it seems to be more responsive than it was last week.
There we go.
Cool. They have this nice, handy little table here. So I said 434 miles. That's where I was. So we're going to just skip past number 1, number 2, and number 3 because those are monster battery packs.
Yep.
Cool to see that the Cadillac Escalade IQ apparently did 558 miles in their tests. But I just wanted to see kind of what's around the 434 number. Looks like we had the EQS 450, got 422 miles. Its EPA rated range was 350. Let's see, we've got the EQS SUV 407 versus EPA of 339. The next one above where the 434 is a Lucid Air Grand Touring, which did 465.
Yep.
Even though its EPA rated was 516. Lucid Gravity is at 400 miles. Lucid Gravity here is at 388. I mean, really, the only stuff around it, other than these vehicles with just gigantic gargantuan batteries, are other Mercedes-Benz cars.
And looking at this would probably be the cheapest car on this list.
Yeah,
Looking at the base, I would assume.
yeah, that seems fair.
Yep. I mean, because you got a lot of Lucids and big old trucks on there. I mean, that's
cool
impressive.
Website.
That's impressive.
I'm excited to see what it ends up doing at like 70 miles an hour constant, things like that. But
I'm guessing mid to high threes.
It's a good first run, right?
Yep.
It's a good first kind of realistic, like, oh, it did this outside of the EPA cycle.
Yep.
And while we're talking about Mercedes,
let's do it.
There's a new electric GLB.
The GLB.
So Mercedes, after discontinuing the EQB in the U.S. market, took the wraps off of its successor this week, the new electric GLB, officially named the Mercedes-Benz GLB with EQ technology.
Yes.
The GLB will be available at launch in 2 variants. The GLB 250 Plus with EQ technology, and the GLB 350 4MATIC with EQ technology.
Making up our own terms, EQ technology. I love it.
EQB was a better name.
I know.
Anyway.
The GLB is not.
EQB was a better name because you don't have to put with EQ technology at the end of the name. I digress. Yep. Mercedes is quoting a 392-mile range in the WLTP cycle for the base car. EPA numbers are to be determined. The car is powered by an 85 kilowatt-hour battery, and the base single motor is rear-wheel drive and has 268 horsepower, and the all-wheel drive variant has 350. On the exterior of the car, it looks very similar to the outgoing EQB. However, it does gain some of the new design cues that we see on the new CLA, such as a massive front grille. On the interior, there's more headroom than the outgoing model thanks to a new roofline, as well as a bit more legroom in the second row. The GLB will be available with an optional third row as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
In the infotainment system, the car gains the Mercedes-Benz new, quote, MB.OS software, as well as an available 38-inch hyperscreen setup. There's no pricing yet, but expected to be higher than the new CLA, and it's probably going to be higher than the outgoing EQB, which started at $53,000.
Yep. We're talking about. So we have another 3-row SUV to add to the lineup, which is cool. I like this. It's really cool looking. I love this little light pattern back here. Do you see where the little Mercedes logo lights up in the brake lights?
Yeah,
that is
very. Yeah.
That's cool.
Again, a lot of those design cues are kind of from the CLA. So makes sense.
Charging on an Alphatronic unit in this picture, looks like. So
assuming it's not much larger than the outgoing EQB, that's going to be a tiny third row.
Yep.
Because I think the EQB was available with a third row.
Ooh, I like.
And it was pretty small. It's interesting. I'm excited to see Mercedes is still kind of bringing out new EVs. They haven't given up on the U.S. market and things like that. And I'm hoping this works out well for them.
That's a lot going on in that grill, though. There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on.
It's a little busy. It's a little busy. But yeah, kudos to Mercedes. I mean, they're coming up with some updates now. I was worried about them not maybe making EVs for the market. You did tell me I was wrong that they would bring EVs to the U.S., so I will admit it. You were right when we talked about that episode. I hate saying that. Better go drink tonight because you're right. But anyways, yeah. But I'm so excited. Hopefully we get some of these here. We can test drive them.
Yeah.
All right. What did we drive last week, Sebastian? Drove a lot.
Oh yeah, we drove 3 cars. So we drove a new Tesla Model 3, which video's out on that.
Yep.
You can go check that out. We also got to try out FSD 14.2.1 in that car, which we were both pretty surprised by.
Amazing.
And then we drove a 2026 BMW iX, which is unable to charge up a Tesla Supercharger.
Till second quarter 2026.
And then we also drove a 2020, was that a 25 or a 26?
It was a 25.
A 2025 BMW i4.
Yep.
So yeah, stay tuned. One of those 2 videos will be coming out Monday. I don't know which one yet. Haven't edited it yet. I'm doing
Yep.
awesome.
Next 2 weeks, BMW content, basically. So
Basically, yeah, because
Yep.
that's what we got cooked up. We've also
Yep.
got some other little random videos that we'll throw in there. Stay tuned. I think we're going to do our awards again this year. We're going to try out some different, a little bit different content at the end of the year, focusing more on YouTube as a whole. And maybe
yes,
less on just
because
vehicles.
people think we're millionaires doing a YouTube channel, Sebastian.
I don't think anyone thinks that.
And we're going to let them know that we're not millionaires or thousandaires. We're barely hundredaires. So yeah.
Anyway, so if you're interested in the economy of a smaller channel like we
Yep.
are, stay tuned for that. It should be interesting.
Yep.
If anything else, it'll be a chance to just kind of talk about how views and RPMs and CPMs and everything else, and just kind of a general recap of how we feel about this year.
And maybe you will solve the YouTube algorithm during that time.
I might have my epiphany while we're on camera.
Yes. When you're
Who
crunching
knows?
the numbers in Google Sheets and making bar graphs and things like that, you'd be like, oh, I've cracked the code. I know what we need to do.
Anyway, so stay tuned for some of that. I also, and this is the reason stuff hasn't edited yet. So Saturday we drove around all those cars, and then Sunday I went out of town.
Sebastian, all he does is go out of town now.
That's
So.
basically. When do I work? I don't know.
Kansas, Nashville, Memphis, Fayetteville, you name it. Sebastian's gone there. Dallas.
LA now. I mean,
Yeah.
Anyway.
If I get out of North Little Rock, it's a good day. So
we drove with my Ioniq 5 to Nashville. And it went great. It went fine. But the trip there was awesome.
How was Casey's?
So the first stop we did was at the Forest City Electrify America. I was a ding dong and did not charge to 100%. I charged to 80% the night before. I forgot to set it. And ultimately it was fine. It didn't matter. Yep. That was a stop that we got there. And I mean, ABRP said we only needed 64% to go to the next place, but you and I both know in an EGMP car, you just charge to 80.
Yep.
There's no sense in stopping it. The time it's going to take
like
you to stop it, you would have already
4
been at
minutes
80
to get from
80.
64 to 80. Yeah. So
right. Ended up charging to 95%.
Oh, you were having fun at the Walmart in Forest City, weren't you?
Allison wanted to buy stuff to do her nails. So
I saw the snack video.
Yeah, she wanted to do her nails in the car. So that's what we did. That was actually on the way back, the snack video.
The snack video.
And then our second stop, I elected to, and by the way, there'll be a video of this. I don't know how interesting it'll be. We'll see. Just kind of talking about our stops or whatever. But our next stop was in Jackson, Tennessee. And I gave Allison the choice of either charging at a Electrify America station in Jackson, Tennessee, and having a fast stop, or having a slightly slower stop and going to the Casey Jones home.
Yay!
And train museum. And we picked the train museum, and it was interesting. We were the only people there.
There's not many people in the train museum. It's not a very popular.
It was interesting, but
yep.
We walked through it. It was cool. We saw neat stuff. You know, We learned something. I had no idea who Casey Jones was. I still quite don't understand why he's so important.
Got his own little area in Tennessee. So,
but anyway, it was a cool experience. Though, and then after that, by the time we finished in the museum, my car was at 90%, and Allison wasn't done, so I unplugged the car and moved away from the charger.
Did you go to the buffet at Rushville, little store buffet?
And so then we walked over and we looked around the country store.
It's like a Cracker Barrel is what it kind of is.
Kind of. We didn't eat.
It's just buffet only or to-go buffet.
Yeah.
But they have a little store you can look in.
Well, we walked around the store a little bit, looked around, looked at their little trinkets, didn't buy anything, and then we left. And really, we had enough juice at that point to get to Nashville.
Easily.
But I was like, I had a mental thought of, I'm going to charge right outside of Nashville just to make sure we have enough to drive around town, just in case we can't charge at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, am I glad my premonition was there.
Would you stop at Tesla or somewhere else?
We stopped at a Tesla Supercharger at a shopping center.
Target?
Yep.
I know exactly which one.
It's called like Charlotte Pike or something. Weird site. V3 and V4 dispensers.
Yep, they have the two different kinds. The V3s
two different kinds. They all had magic docks.
Mm-hmm.
They were all disabled.
Wonder why?
I don't know. Tesla's been doing that. They've been disabling their magic docks at random sites, and that was one of them. I was like, the V3 dispensers very clearly had the big, chunky cutout for the magic docks. Wouldn't disengage, so I just used my adapter. Whatever, not a big deal. Charged up a decent bit there. I think we ended up at because we got there at 40% or
That
something.
location also has level 2 charging, I think, too.
Yeah, I didn't see it. It
As
didn't go
soon
that
as you
far.
pull in on the right, there's a couple, I think, level 2 chargers there. Yeah.
Interesting. Anyway,
Yep.
charged there for a little bit and then went to our hotel. Got to our hotel, and our hotel had been advertised as having EV charging. Cool.
Yep.
Got there, test supercharger, first level of the parking garage. I was like, okay, cool, that works. Not what I was expecting for EV charging. I was expecting, level 2 charger, 1, 2, whatever. But test supercharger, cool. So I had that in my mind, kept that in my mind, but then went and looked, and it's not in my Tesla app. Which it was the start of trouble and started to spell trouble for me.
Were they V2s? V3s?
No, it was a V3 supercharger
It
site.
was okay.
Tesla only.
Weird.
Yep. So even though there's no technical reason my car couldn't charge there, Tesla said it couldn't. So my hotel charging did not actually have EV charging that I could use.
Sounds like just a way that someone just doesn't want to make money. I mean,
I guess so. I don't know. Spent $84 on parking for the hotel.
Free charging out of that. I mean, you think you'd get something. Complimentary breakfast, so.
$84 to park at the hotel for 2 nights. That's a different conversation. Nice hotel. Cool.
It's
Good
usually
hotel.
like $25 a night.
$42 a night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Free money for
It's
that
okay.
hotel.
That's not even the worst we paid for parking. There was, because we decided we wanted ice cream before the concert. And so we found an ice cream shop, and then there was nowhere to park on the street. So we had to park in a parking garage. We were in the parking garage for 20 minutes, $15.60.
That's a whole day parking here in Little Rock. So
Ended up spending $50 on ice cream because of the parking and everything else.
That better have been some damn good ice cream is all I got to say. You know where you could have got ice cream? The Casey Jones Country Store. There you go. So
it was pretty good ice cream. Yep. Anyway, and then Tuesday, just got there Sunday, came home Tuesday. It's time to start getting ready to go home since I couldn't charge at the hotel. By the time we had done all our driving around for the 2 days we were there, I was at like 60-something%.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm gonna put a little bit of juice in, try to make sure we can get back to Jackson.
You could have stopped at Charlotte's Pike again. That would have got you there.
I could have. Yeah. I ended up stopping at an EA. That was close to where we were that morning. Of course, I did not factor this part into my equation. This was a my bad. So It's like 31 degrees outside.
You didn't precondition, did you?
I didn't precondition. I pulled up to the charger, plugged in, and got 40 kilowatts.
You sent me that picture. I'm like, is it a charging issue? You said no, it was me. I was like,
it's a me issue.
It's a me issue.
Anyway, so stayed there absolutely as long as we needed, and no longer. Left and hit the road and ended up not stopping at Casey Jones on the way back. We stopped there is a EVgo Pilot Flying J in Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Stopped there because I had my $80 in EVgo credit. And it was actually worked at the Pilot Flying J, and that was fine. It was a little weird. The car was preconditioned, and the charger seemed to be offering, 350 kilowatts, 500 amps.
Mm-hmm.
My car never asked for more than like 160.
Interesting.
Thought that was weird because I plugged in at like 15%.
The chargers weren't they weren't derated or anything. Were
in
they?
Car Scanner, it showed the charger was offering 500 amps.
Huh.
Thought that was weird.
Yep.
And the battery wasn't cold. It was a 75 degrees. So like I know preconditioning tends to target like 80 degrees on
So you weren't that
Ioniq
far
5,
off.
but 75 is plenty warm.
Yep.
So I thought it was weird, but 160 kilowatts is still fine. No biggie. And then after that, we stopped at Forest City Walmart again. That session started off weird and then was perfectly fine after that. So I plugged in, started a charger, saw it ramp up to about 190 kilowatts, which is normal for when you first plug in an eGMP car. I was like, cool, great. Turn around, walk off, get in the store, look at my EA app, and it shows us pulling 2.6 kilowatts.
Oh.
I'm like, what the hell? Turn around, walk back to my car, get back there, look at the screen, 240 kilowatts. So I don't know if it was an app glitch.
Something was lost in translation, yeah.
But I walked all the way back out to the car for no reason, then went back in the store, and it was a completely normal charge session
Yep.
after that. And then from Forest City to home, no problem. Um, and yeah, the big takeaway here is Allison has had, recently taken a couple trips in the Bolt. And so it was just to go from seeing the whole taking an hour to charge at an EA station to legitimately not being able to move fast enough, it seems, to get out to the car in time is a very mind-blowing experience.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need to rush. I mean,
Yeah.
it's different getting home 20 or 30 minutes later. It's just, so many people like to rush in doing that, but it just makes, I don't know. I guess I'm just old, but it just doesn't make any sense to hurry up and get back on the road and get somewhere real quick. It's not like what's the difference between get home at like 2 or 2:30? It's not much difference.
Well, on the way there, I was trying to get there slightly earlier because I didn't want to get there when it was dark.
Yep.
And then it got dark at 5 o'clock. It got dark earlier
Yep.
in Nashville than it did at home because, time and geography.
Yep.
Didn't consider that in my equation. And it gets real dark on that on 40 between Jackson and Nashville because there ain't nothing.
Yep.
And I always nervous that I'm going to hit a deer or whatever, so I was trying to get there before dark, and it didn't work out.
That's what I was worried about coming back from Memphis when we went to the basketball game. Remember Thanksgiving break at 10:30 at night was like, if anything's going to happen, I'm going to hit a deer. Because I'm like, I'm driving down every 3 miles, deer. Next 3 miles, deer, dead. Next 3 miles, dead deer.
And then you see the live ones, and they're just sitting right at the edge of the road eating grass, whatever, not
like,
bothered.
Yep.
It's like, I don't feel like running out today.
Yep. It's too cold.
Anyway, but yeah, that's my trip. It went well. Other than a few little random things that I mentioned.
And you said video to come out maybe on that?
Yeah, I haven't edited it. I haven't actually seen. I've got clips and all that. I just need to edit it and see if it actually comes together in a cohesive way.
It may be a Christmas break video we release or something.
It might be a random Thursday video. Who knows?
Ooh, we're spicing things up. Random Thursday video. Make it a Christmas Day video. There you go.
Joel, you have anything fun EV related to talk about?
I have nothing new to talk about except that our main job I got to get to the next week, and then it's Christmas break. So,
yay.
Yes, that's you too. I think you get 2 weeks off too, don't you? Yay, look at that.
I actually get this one. Yeah.
Yep. So, well, we'll let you know this. So, you'll see this video coming out. We installed the EV Hover. So if you're curious, if you're curious what EV Hover is, this company that reached out to us, or actually I may have reached out to them. They create almost like a charging arm in your garage, to where if you have to charge your car, if your charger's on the wall, the left-hand side of the wall, but you got to charge on the right, it's almost like it's an arm that hangs over where you fish the cable through, and it goes down. It's not dragging on the ground and things like that. So we're doing this for my wife's car. So Sebastian and he helped me do that, and I wanted to make sure we cleared the car because it's an EV6. At no point during EV9, sorry. At no point during this install did I take into effect that my wife is 5'3". So, and she,
I think I took it into account and said something to you, and you were like, yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. So at the end of this little EV Hover is a little holster where you kind of put the NACS, it's for a NACS, you put the little NACS handle into it for the Tesla. She can't do that. So what she does is she pushes the EV Hover thing back against the wall and then takes the NACS, or not NACS, the level 2 J17, no, what is
NACS,
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the NACS.
Yeah.
And then she plugs it into the charging unit. So on
into
the wall.
The side of the wall connector.
So in the wall connector. So I'm like, what are you doing here? That's not the purpose. She's like, I can't reach the holster to put it in there. I was like, oh yeah, that is a problem, isn't it? And then I tried to show her how to, like, she wasn't scooting it back the right way. She was hitting a wall with a big dent in the wall. And I'm like, you're not doing it the right way. Here's how, it's like an accordion, babe. She's like, I leave for work at 6:30 in the morning. I'm not worried about pushing this back against the wall. Just, I want it out of my way. So it's been interesting experience with the EV Hover. Great idea. There's just some things that maybe I didn't take into account whenever we installed it, but we'll have that video coming out.
But it's still up, right?
It's still up. She still uses it. It's not down.
Okay. So victory.
It looks like a hot mess, but when she does it, so it's a victory.
And the cable's not on the floor. So
the cable's not on the floor. So yes, making progress.
Failed successfully.
Yep. And I told her, I said, if this was like 6 inches longer, we could just leave it out the whole time. And he would just like pull up underneath it, like,
Yeah.
But if I would have put a 2x4 up or something, I probably could have got a couple extra inches. But I was like, it's not gonna do. We're not doing that. But for what it's designed for, it works great. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a big, huge metal arm that comes over, and you just run the charging cable up through it, and it doesn't touch the ground. So basically, in the long run, it saves your charging cable. You don't have to worry about running over it. So it's a pretty good thing. So huge shout out to the team at EV Hover for sending that out to us, and we'll have a video coming out in the next couple weeks. So
Yep.
yep.
All
That's
right.
all I
Well,
got.
that is a
Yep.
wrap for today's episode. Thank you all for plugging into the Friday Charge. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other platform, be sure to hit that follow button and leave us a quick rating. It really does help us out. So long, everyone, and we will see you on the next episode of the Friday Charge.